Happy Saturday. I hope you're having a great weekend. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first new video with me, I wanted to pop on and try to do a follow-up video to the live stream that I was a part of on Thursday with Kim Carey from Intuitiview. She was kind enough to invite me to talk about my weird dreams, and we did a live stream, and a lot of people chimed in with their dreams in the live chat, and it was a lot of fun. It was a little frustrating for me because I was having some tech issues on this end, and I don't know why, but my signal was delayed, so it's like everything that I was saying was a little behind the live conversation, but we did our best. I hope it was interesting and entertaining for you. It seemed to go over pretty well with most people. But while I was doing the live stream with Kim, I wasn't able to see the live chat because I was actually doing it through my phone. So I felt bad about that too, because I knew that some questions were probably slipping by that we weren't maybe covering. And so what I did is, after the fact, I watched the video and then I read the live chat at the same time to see what people were talking about. And there were so many interesting comments in there that I wrote some of them down in my computer and thought I would follow up on them. So hopefully some of the people who were with us on Thursday will see this video and maybe see their questions being addressed. Now that said, I am in over my head because some of this stuff, I don't know the exact answer to the questions. I'll tell you as much as I think I know, but I hope it will be enough or satisfactory. So let me just jump in and let me just try. I'll do my best, okay? So in looking at the live chat, oh, and by the way, if you missed the video, you can, of course, look it up on Intuitiview. Intuitiview is Kim Carey's channel. This is, we did the live stream together on Thursday, August 19, and today's Saturday, August 21st. So in the comments section, there were multiple comments from a viewer named Lama Bryant. It was Lama, Lama Bryant, and was asking about simulations or holographic dreams, because I described one dream in which I was on a beach and the weather turned sour on the beach, and then an unknown man came out with a mechanical device and he changed the weather with the mechanical device. And it was at that moment in the dream that I realized that we were in like a holographic reality, and that he changed it back to sunshine, and I could see the dome shape of the environment that we were in. Oh, here comes my cat Gabe. Hey buddy, come here, Gabe. And so I could see that we were in an artificial reality. Oh. Come here, Gabe. Come here, buddy. I don't know if you'll be able to see him. He doesn't usually come in the range of the camera. So Lama wondered if the fact that I've had more than one dream about being in sort of holographic realities, do I believe I'm in a simulation like Neo in the Matrix? And the answer to that question is kind of yes and no. A little more no, but it depends on how you look at it. And this is what I mean. Let's assume for the moment that there is a creator of this reality, of all that is. There's a God. You can call it God, the creator, source, whatever you please. I don't think God minds what we call God. So we'll go with the assumption that God does exist. God created this universe. Well, since it's a creation that in some sense exists in God's mind or God's consciousness, it is an artificial reality. It's a construct of God, and it's sort of powered by God's energy. And without God as the creator of this reality, then you don't have a reality. So it is artificial. And it could be that, and psychics and spiritualists, many of them say the same thing, that this is a playground. Earth is a playground, and other planets are a playground for the soul. The soul is immortal. It exists. It lives at a higher dimensional plane. And we come here We incarnate to have a physical experience in the 3D reality that God has created as a playground of experiences for us, and maybe on other planets too, which I believe. And then when we pass from this realm, we go back to where we came from, which is this higher dimensional plane. So I think that could all be true. I don't know for sure. I don't know if anybody knows for sure, even the people who think they know for sure. Because how can we know exactly the mind of God, right? So when you look at it from that point of view, it doesn't really matter whether we're in an artificial reality, because it's artificial because it was created by God, if that makes sense. Now, that doesn't mean it's necessarily running on a computer per se, the way we might create a video game or something that is an artificial reality that seems like reality, but is, we know, is not this reality. But at the same time, my concept of God is kind of the way I view God, and this is just my personal view. It's not an intuitive view. Well, it might be, because I believe that I write with my spirit guide when I work on books and stuff, but it doesn't mean this is the truth. This is just a potential concept of God, okay? Maybe God is kind of like a supercomputer intelligence, like a massive supercomputer intelligence, because the universe exists by a set of measurable physical laws that we know of, gravity, time, the dimensions of space, 3D reality, electromagnetism, strong and weak nuclear forces, and now even gravity waves. These are things we can measure as real phenomena that seem to keep the universe stable. Yet, God couldn't possibly, from my point of view, be just a big supercomputer, because in my mind, God is also the ultimate creative artist, the original creative artist. And the volume of beauty in reality on this planet and in this universe just as a whole is so vast. It is so sensitively created that I think of God as both of these things simultaneously. The kind of like an ultimate supercomputer intelligence, but with the sort of heart of the ultimate creative artist. And I also believe that this is why human beings are compelled to create as well. That's such a strong creative drive, because we're imitating our creator. We're imitating the original. We're echoing the original creation, the original creative act of creating the universe. That's how I see it. So, do I believe that we live in like a holographic reality that just runs on a computer, and there is no God? No, I don't believe that. I think that you have to have God in that mix. You have to have a creator in that mix with that sensitivity of the artist to create such a beautiful realm as this one that we live in. So, but that doesn't mean I'm right. I mean, we could be in a hologram. I mean, we can't know for sure. But it's not something to worry about. We know we exist. I mean, I have a sense of me as existing, and you have a sense of you as existing. We can't prove to each other that we're not holograms, but it sure feels like we're a lot more than that. So that's about the best we can do in terms of proof. So I hope that answers Lama's question. Now, Lama also said in the comments that we are all sharing one brain, and that's why inventions can happen simultaneously. And Lama also liked the silver cord theory that we were talking about. We were talking about the strings between people, that some psychics believe that there are golden or silver heartstrings or between us and the people that we care about or that are in our immediate world, day-to-day world, and that others believe perhaps we're all interconnected by these strings, that the human race is kind of a collective mind. And I've even read stuff. I remember, I think I read it in, whose book was it? Someone will know in the comments, but there's a spiritualist book where they talk about the possibility of all of humanity being part of like a greater organism, like almost like we're like the individual cells of a greater organism, and that greater organism might be God. But in the book that I had read, they were describing it more like an amoeba, like that we were all like bits of an amoeba. And to be honest, when I read this book, what is it called? I think it's The Sphere. Is it The Sphere and the Hologram? It's been a while since I read it. I didn't totally like that concept. It bothered me. It troubled me. I didn't totally like reading that. But it could be that we are sharing one brain, or that we are one consciousness divided into billions of little consciences. I don't really know, and I'm gonna have to leave it there right now at that, because I can't say anything more definitive about it, and I don't want to mislead anybody because it's confusing enough as it is. But it seems to be that at minimum we are in some ways more connected than we might realize in day-to-day living. Certainly with the experiences with my family, where like we have intuitive knowing of things that are going on with each other without talking about them, or like when one is ill and you sense it, then you know that there's something going on more at the quantum level of reality. And in quantum mechanics, to the extent that I understand them, they talk about, interrelated particles as being what is the phrase that they use? Like related atomic particles will react to each other no matter how far apart they are. So assuming that my mother and I share the same genetic material, we're sort of atomically related. We're not just related by blood and DNA, but like at our atomic level, we share. I come from her atoms and my father's, and so we're atomically connected, and that those relationships can be felt at any distance because of the nature of quantum mechanics, where interrelated particles always relate no matter how far they're separated from one another. So that's a bit of a rabbit hole too. I'm slightly sorry I brought it up, but because I don't want to create confusion, and I can't give you rock solid answers on some of these things. I can only speculate and do my best to tell you what I think, and then you have to decide what you believe for yourself. Is that helpful? I hope so. But it is interesting that, I think I mentioned this in the video with Kim too, it is interesting that they discovered that what's called dark matter, they don't understand what dark matter is yet, but they know that dark matter comprises a lot of the volume of the universe, because it helps to account for the gravitational interactions between galaxies. You need this X factor, this dark matter, to make the math work. So they don't know what dark matter is, but they know that it's something. And somehow they were able to figure out from, I think, the deep space photography, I don't know if it was in the infrared spectrum or another spectrum, but they were able to actually see the filaments that look like strings that connect all of the galaxies in the entire universe to each other. And so they're kind of like, it looks like kind of like a brain. You've got all these little galaxies, and they all have little lines connecting them, like neurons in a brain. And so other people will say that that's more evidence that we live in some kind of oneness, that the universe itself is the collective. And again, that might be so, but I don't know for sure. but they do know that all the galaxies, galaxies didn't necessarily have to be connected to each other. They could have each been floating in space and retain their gravitational relationships to each other without these super thin cosmic strings between them, but they happen to find them. So it's part of the mystery of how the universe is constructed. I hope that didn't confuse you too much. I'm confusing myself. And again, Llama Brian also asked for suggestions on how not to have bad or upsetting dreams. And I don't have an exact answer for that, except that I have used some stones that were recommended to me, and I'm looking for the one. I have a friend down the block who is also psychic, my neighbor Rose. Pardon me. And she suggested that some of the darker stones are good for grounding you in your sleep, like these ones. But I don't know if that's exactly a fact. I have a much larger one of these, and I can't remember what the substance name is. I'm sure a viewer will know better than I do. But you also have to be careful with stones, because when I tried to do lucid dreaming with some other stones, it didn't go very well. I got a little lost out there. So there may be better suggestions from viewers about how to protect yourself from bad dreams. But I did find, I wish I had it right with me, I got one really big stone, and it really kind of helped. It did help me with dreams. It sort of grounded me. And I got a book that my mom gave me recently. No, wrong book. Sorry. My mom gave me a book called Crystals for Beginners. I want to see if it's in here. So I can at least show you quickly what I'm thinking of. Sorry to stretch this out here. Yeah, it was something like an onyx or an obsidian. These darker stones were recommended to me for grounding before going to bed. And I don't know if the one I have is that, or if it might be lodestone. Not entirely sure. You will want to do your own research, or consult someone with more knowledge of stones, like say Cindy at Soulprint, Intuitive Tarot. She is very knowledgeable about crystals and could probably offer a specific one for protecting yourself in sleep. But I found that putting this dark stone in my hand, the smooth coolness of the stone was relaxing to me, and I just I had it in my palm, and I just kind of gripped it until I fell asleep. And I've used it a few times and found that to be helpful. I'm sure that other psychics would recommend just general prayer, like surrounding yourself in the pure white light of God before you go to sleep, and maybe to pray for the angels to watch over you while you sleep. I've heard other people say that you can ask for there to be angels at the four corners of your bedroom to sort of stand guard and protect you in your dreams. I don't know if that would help prevent all upsetting dreams, but it's certainly worth a try. And if anyone has better suggestions in the comments, I am all ears. As I mentioned in the video with Kim the other night, I don't generally try to steer my dreams in any one direction. I let them come even when they're kind of weird or even possibly disturbing, because I have an equal number of really beautiful, joyful ones, life-affirming dreams. And so my attitude is to kind of let them all come, and then to not dwell on the heavy ones too much when they happen, and to really embrace the brighter ones when they come. And that's how I go about it. I don't know if that's helpful, but I'm trying. See, I'm in over my head. Okay. There was a viewer from Thursday named, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Freda Stenger, who said that she spoke in a different language out loud while she was dreaming as a child, which is totally wild. I have no idea what that's about. I could guess that maybe she was of a different ethnicity, maybe in a prior incarnation, and so in some sense retained some language that she then is able to express in her sleep. But that's just purely a guess. It is not an intuitive. It's not my an intuitive or psychic interpretation of what's happening when she has those kinds of dreams. Then there was a viewer named This Creative Life who said that they're able to alter their dream while dreaming, which is super cool. And then T-Barb, T-Barb said that she can go back to sleep and alter her dreams in progress once she knows what they're about. And I'll mention again, I have my friend Chrissy is very good at lucid dreaming. She she volunteers for a national organization called Find Me. It's called Find Me for missing persons cases. And what they do is, it was started by a former FBI agent, I believe, and he began to try psychics on missing persons cases, even though he didn't believe in it. And the results were so strongly successful and positive that he built a network of psychics where I think she said it was maybe 100 psychics who volunteered to do this. And when they have a missing persons case, Find Me, the organization, sends an email out to all of the psychics on their list and asks them to try to concentrate on obtaining information about where this missing person might be found. And Chrissy said that she is able, and I'm writing about Chrissy for my next book a little bit, among other subjects. Chrissy said that she's able to meditate on the details of a case, and if she's got a photograph of the person, meditate on the photograph of the person, and then in her dreams she often gets bits of information, or in a meditative state outside of dreaming she's able to get information. And then all of the psychics who are on the email list can send their info back to the guy who runs Find Me, and they try to correlate the data. And then if they find commonalities among what different psychics have come up with, then that they're better able to find people. Unfortunately, sometimes the people are deceased. I mean, they may have been, abducted or killed, which is terrible. But often, as I understand it, it's still a relief to their families for them to be found, for them to be to know where they are. And sometimes even the people who have been killed will help with help the psychics to find them. They'll offer clues themselves to psychics who are trying to help locate them. So, do I think? I mean, these viewers, This Creative Life and T-Barb, were not asking if I believed that lucid dreaming is possible. It absolutely is possible. I'm just no good at it. Chrissy, my friend Chrissy, is, and some of you may well be. And I don't know if I'll ever try to do that, try to learn about that again. The couple times I tried it, it went so badly that I just had these terrible nightmares. And so I thought, I'm doing fine just letting the dreams come as they are. So I don't try to steer them. That's just me. Everyone should do what they feel is good for them. And I might try to learn it at some point in time, or I might not. I don't know. Let's see. There was a viewer named Quinn Headley who said that she dreams about her son's father who passed away years ago. And in the dreams, he's young again. That to me sounds more like a visitation. And Kim was talking that she gets visitations from people who have passed over, who have crossed over in her sleep. And the reason that I thought that was because she said that her son's father is young again in the dreams. And I've heard repeatedly that we're able to choose our appearance or how we present ourselves when we're in spirit form, because in that form we're just energy, so we can choose an appearance and manifest an appearance. And to give a little additional insight on that, my brother Steve sees our brother Justin, who is on the other side. When Justin comes to visit us, he looks somewhat like us, and his physical features are similar because Steve and I have a similar face. And when I did a reading with Kim Carey did a psychic reading for me maybe 6 months ago, and my brother Justin on the other side showed up, and he appeared as a relatively young man, like in his 20s. Whereas if he had he died just after childbirth in 1974. So if he had lived, he would now be 46, 47. So he wouldn't be as young as he chooses to appear when he comes to visit. So, and who knows, maybe when I'm in spirit, maybe I'll choose a different appearance too. I mean, I was joking about it in one of the videos that I think maybe I'll go back to long hair when I'm in spirit. We'll see. So yes, I think Quinn Headley, I think those are visitations. That's my feeling about that. Then Mama Jen said that she hears music in her dreams. And I have had that happen many, many times. I've heard songs in my sleep. I've heard songs going into sleep and coming out of sleep. Sometimes the music is orchestral. And I feel like that's tuning into like universal radio, so to speak. I feel like there's a physicist. His name is, I'm going to butcher it again, Mikio Kaku. Oh, God, I'm killing it. If somebody knows, you can put it in the comments. And he believes that the universe is that the strings that they talk about in string theory are more like vibrating musical strings, and that the universe in some sense is musical in nature. And I'm on board for that. I think that that's an interesting concept. And when my neighbor Rose down the block, who, like I mentioned, is also psychic, she had a near-death experience in which when she got to the other side, she felt that all of reality was like made of music in some way. It's an abstract concept, but that the very nature of the universe is musical. And so, yeah, in dreams, why wouldn't we tap into that? It kind of makes sense too, because music can be so beautiful. It does lift your vibration. And as a musician, I can attest to the fact that when I'm writing music or performing music and I'm in that zone, I am lifted. It feels, it's such a beautiful feeling when you're really in that zone that you never want to leave there. And that intuitively to me tells me that, you know, music in its purest sense is kind of celestial. That's how I feel about that. And I know there are musicians who've said they've been gifted songs in their sleep. I've told this story before. I believe that Paul McCartney believed that he was gifted the song Yesterday in a dream, which I can believe. So in a way, you're tapping the universe, you're tapping spirit, you're tapping universal radio, whatever's going on, and you're tuning in. And I would say that that's a sign that you're connected. You know, that you're one of the connected folks, or the light workers, and you're in a good spot. And so that's a very cool thing. And yes, I've even heard about people like sometimes hearing music just in a room, like for a few seconds, that seem to be like coming out of nowhere, almost like a portal opening, like a little thinning of the veil for a moment to hear the music from the other side, and then it closes again. So a little mysterious, but yeah, I think there is some kind of underlying musical relationship to the musical nature to reality. Let's see. Happy Girl in the comment, because my dreams were so weird, the ones we were talking about on Thursday, said, is Rob being abducted by aliens, like in my sleep? I don't think so, but I do have another friend who does think that she gets that she has had some alien interactions, not in her sleep though. I'll leave that aside for another time, but no, I don't think those are alien abductions. I do kind of think now that because I dream so deeply of deep space and other planets and other galaxies and other solar systems, I think I feel like maybe I've lived on other planets, or because I'm so interested in like the big cosmic whole, that my curiosity, maybe there's some astral traveling going on when I'm sleeping, but it's not something that I'm doing on purpose, that I'm consciously aware of astral traveling. So yes, I do believe astral traveling is possible, but and maybe we do get to visit other galaxies or other planets in our sleep. Maybe those are memories of other lives in other places. The universe is so ridiculously big that there is almost certainly intelligent life elsewhere. And of course, now some people believe that alien life has been on Earth for a while and maybe is about to reveal itself. We'll see where that goes too. But certainly in the broader universe, you got 100 billion stars in our galaxy, and then 100 billion galaxies or something in the universe at the minimum. That's just unfathomable. So there have to be other intelligent species in other galaxies. So whether that would possibly make me a star seed or something like that, I have no idea. And it wouldn't even matter if I was, or because in this incarnation I'm human. I'm on Earth. I'm here to do what I can to contribute to the what's good in life as much as I'm able. Positivity. And then when my time's up, then we'll see where we go from there. And I do feel like though my family and I came down in a coordinated fashion, because the connection that I feel with my mother and my brother is something that's deeper than just being in the same family. We're so similar spiritually that it seems to me that we were kind of almost like cut from the same piece of soul fabric, if you will. I do have a strong attraction to the star system Lyra, which is known as the Harp, and we discovered that Lyra is over this area in the northeast. Like, Lyra is right now right above my house, basically, the constellation, the Harp constellation Lyra, and I feel some kind of pull to that. And I think it's also because of the biblical passage in Revelations where the angels stand on the sea of glass and fire with the harps of God to repel darkness. And I think in some sense that's what the light workers are doing right now, what we're here for. And I think that with the assistance of spirit, I think we are in a kind of biblical time. I don't mean to say that the world is ending, but I think a cycle is coming to a close, and I think we're here to be a part of that and to help lift the planet through a very difficult time. And it is very difficult. There's a lot going on. You've got the epidemic, you've got global climate disruption and change and disasters, and you've got political unrest and shaky democratic institutions, and it's all happening at once. And I sincerely believe we will prevail. We will get on the right course. We will begin to address climate change. We will get a handle in time over the epidemic. It may yet take a few more years, but now that we're on the vaccine track, this will be part of the solution. And I also believe strongly that our democracy will survive, and that democracy will in fact grow worldwide, that it's the destiny of all nations eventually to be free, because that is a gift from God. And when governments try to deny possibly the greatest gift from God, which is free will, then they're going against the natural order of things, and they can't prevail forever, because eventually people will rebel for their freedom. We'll see what that means. I would love to see that happen in Russia sometime very soon. I think that the Russian leader's rule is tenuous at best. I don't think he's as strong as he thinks he is, or tries to appear. and he could be toppled, and we could see a democratic Russia in our lifetime. China will take longer, I think. I just feel it. They're more entrenched. They're more committed to their vision of sort of a Chinese-led world. But ultimately, I think the fate of their people will be freedom as well, but probably not in my lifetime. Again, that's just an intuitive sense, it's not a psychic prediction. Let's see. Little Sparrow Tarot asked in the chat if I've ever felt myself leave my body while I sleep. So yeah, so we were talking about, and also asked if I've ever had any astral attacks in that space, like by being out of body. I would say, like I said, I think I have been out of my body in some of my dreams, especially the deep space ones, because sometimes when I get back, I'm like, oh my God, I came from so far away. It took me so long to get back, or I'm tired from the flight. And it's possible that there have been some astral attacks, but they don't worry me at all. I feel like we own our light. I feel like innately that alone protects us in our sleep, that our light is sacred, and that when other beings or even other people try to maybe attack us in our sleep, they're not going to succeed ultimately, because our natural the natural brightness of our life, especially if we're living from our best selves, is a kind of protection in itself. That's my belief. Others might not feel that way, but that's what I feel. So it's possible that I've experienced maybe some astral attacks in my sleep, but it doesn't concern me in the least, and I don't worry about it at all. And when I go to bed, it does not concern me. I feel like I am protected by my innate light. I feel we're each protected by the innate beauty of our light in sleep. So, but if you feel that you need extra protection, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think you can certainly pray before you go to bed. Ask for Spirit to keep you in the pure white light of God, the loving and protective and healing white light of God before you go to sleep. And if that helps you to sleep better, then say it. I do it too sometimes. Or I like to pray for the world when I go to bed and when I get up too. I pray for the world to overcome COVID, and I pray for the world to overcome climate change, and I pray for democratic institutions to overcome autocracy. Those are kind of like my three subjects that I stick in my daily prayers, and it's real quick, and then I go on with my day. And Little Sparrow Tarot also said that, let's see, she said, I felt myself flying out of my body as I fell asleep, and sometimes it hurts to come back into my body. So I'm not exactly sure what that is about, although I would say that one time years ago, I conducted a little experiment where I tried to see if I could leave my body consciously, and I did feel myself exiting my body. And the sensation that I felt actually was like, it was like my head, I was lying on my back on the couch, and it was like my head was being pushed super hard through the pillows. And then my neck started to like inadvertently crane back, and it was like I felt as if my soul was coming out of my forehead. And that's when I broke the contact. And I wrote about this in my first book, which is called God Laughs at Dirty Jokes. And you can watch all those videos on my channel if you like. They're all in numerical order. Oh, sorry, my leg got tight there. If you want to check those out. And so that was my little experiment in seeing, can I leave my body if I try? And I'm pretty convinced I could have gone through with it. But since I didn't know what the hell I was doing, I had no training, I didn't really have any business doing it. And when it started to feel uncomfortable and not necessarily painful, but strange, like a tearing, I said, okay, I'm stopping this. I'm giving up this project, and I'm not going to dabble in things that I don't understand. I know some of the psychics that are on YouTube, say that they can do it safely and they know how, and it's a piece of cake to them, and I believe them, and all power to them. For me, I don't understand it well enough to pursue it any further. Now, if of course you naturally leave your body when you're sleeping, as we very well might, that's something completely different, and there must be a natural, way that we get in and out of our body. Although it's little sparrow says sometimes she says it hurts to come back to her body, so I don't know what that's about exactly, unless maybe it's an awareness when she gets back to her body that the body is heavy, because we're in a low vibrational realm, so the body is heavy compared to spirit, which is light. Certainly, when I had not almost an almost NDE a few years ago, I near death experience. I mean NDE. The strangest part about it was when I thought I might be in trouble, I felt like, oh wow, I'm so light now, and I'm leaving the heaviness of the body, and there was a weird feeling of relief that I wasn't expecting. And I didn't ultimately leave my body at that moment, but I had the feeling that if I had, that it would actually be joyful in some way, that it would be like leaving a weight behind, the weight of physical life, because we go through a lot here. We endure a lot in these bodies, and so maybe that is part of what you're experiencing, little sparrow. When you come back to your body, maybe the body feels heavy compared to the lightness of spirit. I repeated myself, but you get the point. All right, I got to wrap up soon because my voice is starting to get tired. Donnell Allen wanted us to talk about head bobbing after it was mentioned in the chat with Kim. And I have some stuff about head bobbing in the first couple chapters of the book, God Laughs at Dirty Jokes, which, like I said, is narrated in videos on my website. So if you want to check that out. But my basic experience with that was when I first became kind of more psychically sensitive in the late 90s. One of the earliest things that happened to me would be like I'd be in bed and I would feel a presence in my third eye, and then my head would kind of like do this inadvertent kind of jerking. And I think it must relate to vibrations in some way. Like, I think maybe when these presences come in, they have their vibration, and interacting with our vibration makes us sort of shake and boogie without, inadvertently so. And I describe in the book a couple incidents where I had some visitors that I didn't see, but they were in my third eye, that were friendly and playful, and like actually where like my whole upper body was shaking like this in the bed. I was awake, not sleeping. And like, and then like I actually got like flipped back and forth in my bed, and I was laughing because it was like funny and fun. In retrospect, should I have let that happen? I don't know, but it seemed fine. It didn't seem. You can tell when you have if you're a person who gets visitors in your third eye or awareness of visitors, you can tell when something doesn't feel right. And I always cut stuff off that doesn't feel right. But the head bobbing was kind of like part of that connectivity. And I've noticed when psychics sometimes channel, like if you've seen Cindy at Soulprint channel and Susan Lynn, you can see like a little bit of jerk of the body. It's almost like that energy from that presence that's visiting them is causing the body to like herky jerk a little bit. So I think that is evidence of psychic connectivity, would be my answer to Donnell Allen's question about what head bobbing is. Now, what I will also say is that sometimes when I've had head bobbing visitors, or like really super high pressure in my third eye, it seems like I'm going to see someone, like I'm going to see a visitor, but they don't completely manifest. And I think that's because I'm untrained. I have some psychic aptitude. My brother has more natural psychic aptitude, but is very quiet about it. My mom has psychic aptitude too, but is also somewhat quiet about it. And I'm sort of the public one with writing the book and doing videos. But really, I don't have any training in how to like sort of zero in on these things that come into my awareness and into my third eye. I'm debating whether I'm going to pursue that further in the future, whether I want to try to see if I can become more of a traditional psychic. I'm on the fence about that. I think I'll know when it's time, if it's time. For now, I'm content to write about spiritual experiences and psychic experiences because I feel kind of like I've said this before too. I feel kind of like a spiritual investigative journalist, but where it goes for myself and my own capabilities, I'm not sure. So, Donnell, if that's something that you're experiencing with the head bobbing, it could be. My guess would be that you have some aptitude, and that maybe if you took classes, you could refine this as an ability if you wanted to. That's a guess on my part. Kay Scarborough asked if precognition means that the future is happening at the same time as now. I have some thoughts on that. Just thoughts, not 100% absolute knowing. So I've had precognitive dreams. My mother and brother both have had precognitive dreams. So it does seem, in a sense, like the future is there, or at least the possibilities of the future are there. I don't know for sure if all of the past and all of the future and the now all coexist at the same time, but it's not impossible. Now, that doesn't negate free will, and this is why. It's kind of a paradox that you have to embrace. We have free will. Like, let's say that, yes, the past and the future and the present always exist. So in a sense, time isn't exactly linear the way we think it is. And they say that. They say that time isn't exactly linear on the other side, though we don't know precisely what that means because we're here on this side experiencing linear time. But if they do all exist and we have free will, then it means that I can, like, say, for example, I can choose right now just shut off this video, okay? But in some sense, since the future already exists, then that choice has already been made. I have the free will to make it happen, but in the bigger view from outside, that event has already happened. Does that make sense? So you have to embrace a paradox. You have to try to get your head around a paradox. That these two things could be true at the same time, that you could have free will and yet the future does already exist and we have to live through it in a chronological, in one direction to experience it in this reality. And maybe in other realities, maybe you can rewind and fast forward time. I have no idea. It could be very weird. Who knows? I hope that answers the question from Kay Scarborough, from my intuitive sense of the question. Jade LLR dreamed that John Lennon was shot and killed 1 week before it actually happened, and it haunts him or her. I assume her. Yeah, I can see how it would, but again, that means that precognition is possible, that future events can be seen in some instances, and that in some sense that future does already exist, or at least certainly those possible futures already exist, and then we move into them as we move through time. Let's see. Laura Kidd said in the comments that she had a dream where she was vibrating at such a high speed that it felt like an out-of-body experience. Again, I would liken that to vibrational planes. I think that when spirits, because this has happened with my brother with his psychic interactions, when he gets spirits that visit him, they have to lower their vibrations to communicate with him, and he kind of has to raise his vibrations so that they meet at a place in between, which actually, to me, is like the definition of a medium. You're a medium, you're in a middle space between two spaces. And my brother has explained before that when he's heard visitors from higher dimensions come to visit him, when they're first talking, their dialogue is super speedy, like a sped up record, like, and then they have to adjust it. They have to make a conscious adjustment to speak at a speed that is audible to him at this vibrational level. So yes, Jade or Laura, where you say you've had dreams where you're vibrating at super high speed and it feels like you're out of body, you probably are. Or that is another explanation for or how it feels to exist at a high vibration. It's much faster vibration than this vibrational realm, lighter matter. Let's see. Oh, and then Lalit Staub chimed in the chat at that same time and said that violent shaking can occur just before separation and astral travel. If you don't allow the shaking without fear, then you don't have the astral travel. I don't know if that's true. It could be, but that was that person's take on the shaking that comes with astral travel. As I said, I don't personally practice. I don't try to astral travel when I'm consciously awake. If I do it in my sleep inadvertently, then that's fine. And then finally, as I run out of voice, Kathy Ann wrote that she has a recurring dream. I'll just read what she wrote. It's a very dark night. Everyone is standing outside watching the sky, which is filled with flying objects. They have very bright, colorful lights. We all know they aren't from this world. We're more fascinated than fearful. This dream doesn't feel prophetic, but since I dream it so often, it seems to have some meaning. And I wrote to Kathy Ann in the comments section, but I would like to read to you something that I wrote after a dream I had, and that will probably be in my next book that is related to her experience. So I'll just read this right from the laptop. I had a dream about a person who comes back to Earth as a being of light. He was a disembodied intelligence who tried to manifest a human body from the awareness of his own existence, but he failed. After a couple attempts concluded with a poorly formed body collapsing as if it was made out of thin loops of clay like a human Mr. Bill, the being tried to draw attention to itself with light. Pulling energy from the night air, it formed tube-shaped lights, like 5-foot-long neon tubes at various angles in the air. The tubes popped in and out of the air gradually with more in play as the being learned how to express itself through these light forms. It attracted people's attention. The patterns became more intricate. The lights were no longer just straight lines, but circles and other shapes and lengths. The scope and scale increased too. The lights filled a whole field, swooping from ground to sky, passing over and through the assembled crowd. All kinds of colors. The changes were rapid and complex. It became a destination with people regularly expecting to see the lights, which communicated faithfully each evening. There was a playful exuberance to the display. The being was excited to have found a way to communicate, and the crowd was filled with wonder watching it perform. I sometimes envision good spirits as little beings of light. And my friend Kathy was recently told by a psychic that the sparkles of light she sometimes sees when she thinks of her deceased father are indeed his energy, as she intuited. And so that comes back to the end of the video with Kim Carey on Intuitiview, where she shared with us that she felt like she was seeing like strings of light passing through her ceiling and through the floor. And then her husband Adam posted the short excerpt video from their room cam, in which you could see these things, and they looked a little different than the light orbs that we sometimes see in other psychics videos, because they did almost appear more string-like, and they almost looked like they were kind of like doing a little like curve, almost like a DNA helix in the air, to my eyes. But I thought that was super cool, and to me it makes perfect sense, because disembodied spirits, as far as we know, would exist as light. They're just energy after all. When we leave here, that's what the part of us that remains is the core of our energy, our light. And so if we come back here to visit, or beings come here to help, that's how they could be seen if they chose, because you would just see their energy as a bright light in a room, if you were able to perceive it, or if it was captured by a camera, like with Kim Carey's video. So I thought that was awesome, and I liked that we had that kind of it kind of all wrapped itself up nicely that way. I thought that was really cool. So when Kathy Ann wrote about her dream and then it matched mine, I thought, oh, there's something here. So it sure would be cool if we could see displays of spiritual light in the sky sometime. I mean, can you imagine how people would react to that? I mean, it could be like a beautiful confirmation of spirit, the existence of more than this realm, for maybe people who aren't as tied into it as probably the people who are viewing this video are. So with that, my voice is tired, and I thank you for tuning in. If you did, if my stuff, if my videos don't speak to you, don't worry. I'm kind of a bit of a fringe character on the psychic scene. I am a little, maybe I talk about maybe some of the more weird stuff sometimes, and that's okay. I'm completely content with the role that I play, if any, and I'm just hoping to add to the whole in a positive way wherever I'm able. So take care of yourselves. Stay in that beautiful lifted space as much as you can. Turn to the things that you love. I mean, I may go and play my guitar now, because it gives me such joy, and we have to, as much as possible, embrace the things that give us happiness and pleasure when the times are as tricky as they are. We will get through it, and we will be stronger for it, and I think the world will be stronger for it too. So yeah, that's it. Okay, take care of yourselves, and see you again soon, I hope. Bye-bye.